Today's story is a very intense one. It's about an OP. His name is Cole, and he's been in love with a girl named May since he was in middle school. He never really knew how to tell her, and eventually, as they were going to college, they were going to go to the same college, and everybody knew they would be together eventually. I mean, their relationship was 8 years in the making. However, at the very last month before they left for college, she changes her mind. She decides to go to a college nearly across the country, and for the life of Cole, he can't figure out why, yet he knows he's probably made a mistake. He probably should have told her how he feels. He probably should have answered all the hints that she's been giving him. It was so obvious that she was into him. But it didn't happen. And now she's on the other side of the country, and he's going to the college that he was going to go to until he came home for a family barbecue. And this is when his world fell to pieces. He found out something that his mother said. It's the reason that May decided to go to another school. It's because of what his mother told her. And when you guys hear this story, you're not going to believe yourself. Her name is May. We met in 5th grade. I remember the exact day she walked into my class in the middle of the semester. This tiny girl with dark hair and nervous eyes, clutching her backpack straps like they were the only thing keeping her upright. The teacher sat next to me because I was quiet and would not give her a hard time. I remember thinking she looked scared, like she expected everyone to be mean to her. I smiled at her. She smiled back. That was it. That was the beginning of everything. We became inseparable so fast it was almost stupid. We sat together on the bus every single day. She would share these little rice crackers her mom would pack for her, and I would give her half of my sandwich. Baloney. We traded snacks like we were negotiating international treaties. By the end of 5th grade, I could not imagine a day without seeing her. She was my best friend. My only friend, really, honestly. My mother always called her cute whenever May came up in the conversation, but there was something in the way that she said it that felt off. Like she was talking about a puppy she didn't want me to get attached to. I didn't think much of it back then. I mean, I was 10. What did I know? Middle school hit and everything got a little complicated. Not between us. Between us things were perfect, but inside me something shifted. I started noticing things about her I've never paid attention to before. The way she laughed at my dumb jokes. The way she would lean against my shoulder on the bus when she was tired. The way my heart would hammer in my chest when she texted me goodnight. I was 12 and already completely gone for this girl. She used to talk about dependable people. She would say things like, I love people who are steady, you know? People who show up. And every single time I wondered if she meant me. I would lie awake replaying those conversations, dissecting every word, trying to figure out if she was dropping hints or if it was just desperate delusion. Sophomore year in high school. We went to homecoming together as friends. We both said, everyone assumed we were dating. People would ask us constantly, are you guys together yet? And we would laugh it off and say, no, we're friends. But the whole night, all I could think about was how badly I wanted to hold her hand, how badly I wanted to tell her I've been in love with her since middle school. I planned to confess it that night. I remember it vividly. I had this whole speech rehearsed in my head. I wrote it down. But then at the end of the night, standing outside her house, she looked at me with these soft, sad eyes and said she never wanted to lose me. She said I was the most important person in her life, and she didn't know what she would do if I wasn't in it anymore, and I froze. I couldn't do it. I couldn't risk losing her. My mother, she found out we've gone to homecoming together, and she sat me down the next day. She told me that dating May would be too complicated. She didn't elaborate. She didn't have to. I knew what she meant. And even though I hated it, even though it made me feel sick, a seed of doubt got planted in my mind that day. Junior year, May got really into anime club. I didn't give a single crap about anime. I thought it was for kids. But hey, I joined anyways because she asked me to. I sat through hours of shows I didn't understand just to be near her. She would get so excited and emotional explaining the plot lines and character arcs, and I would just watch her talk. Completely mesmerized. I didn't care about the shows, I just cared about her. That was the year my mother started with the little comments. May would come over to study, and my mother would say things like, "Her parents must be so strict, huh? Do they even let you go out much?" Always phrased like concern, but dripping with something else. One time May overheard. I saw her face change. She went quiet for the rest of the night and left early, and she never brought it up again, and I was too much of a coward to ask. Well, senior year. Everyone just assumed we would end up together, teachers, friends, even random classmates, especially when we went to prom. They would make comments about us being a couple eventually. May would smile when people said it, this tiny helpful smile that killed me every time, but I still couldn't say it. I was paralyzed, terrified that if I confessed and she didn't feel the same way, I would lose her. Terrified that if I confessed and she did feel the same way, my mother would make our lives hell. Well, May started dropping hints that got less and less subtle as graduation approached. She would say things like, "I wish somebody would just take a chance on me. I wonder what it's like when someone isn't afraid to want you." Oh, I knew. I knew she was talking about me, but I couldn't move. I was frozen in fear and doubts about my mother's poison. We made plans to go to the same college even. It was supposed to be this big, beautiful next chapter for us, and we toured campuses together. Talked about getting an apartment near each other, even joked about finally being away from our parents. I just thought maybe once we're away from home, away from my mother's comments and the pressure of high school, I could finally tell her how I feel. Then 2 months before graduation, May told me she changed her mind. She was going to a university across the country nearly. She didn't give me a real reason, just said that she thought it would be better for her future. I was devastated, but I pretended to be supportive because, well, hell, that's what you do when you are too scared to fight for someone. You smile and nod and let them go. So graduation day, she cried when we hugged goodbye. I could see it in her eyes. She held on to me so tight I could barely breathe, and she whispered, "You'll always matter to me." I thought she was being melodramatic. I thought we would stay in touch. The distance wouldn't change us. I just didn't realize until years later that it was her goodbye. Not to her best friend. It was a goodbye to the person she was waiting for, the person who never showed up. I didn't know. College was a wasteland without her. I went through the emotions, classes, assignments, yada yada, a part-time job, but everything was hollow. I messaged her constantly at first. Good morning text, funny memes, even stuff from her animes. Random updates about my days, and she would respond right away in the beginning. Paragraphs of text about her new campus, her roommate, her classes. But slowly, the replies started to take a bit longer. Minutes became hours, hours became days, and my mother would say things like, "See, she's busy with her new life, this is good for you to focus," and I would just nod, hating myself for agreeing with her, hating myself for not fighting harder to keep May close, but I tried dating someone, you know. Her name was Alexis. She was nice, she was smart, and she was beautiful. We went out a few times and even, had fun once. But the whole time I kept thinking about May, comparing everything Alexis did to what May would do. It wasn't fair to either of us. Alexis called me out on it eventually, told me I was emotionally stuck on somebody who already left, and she was right, so you know what? I ended things. And she didn't like anime. May's social media started filling up with photos of her new life, new friends, study groups, campus events. She looked happy. Really genuinely happy in a way I've never seen before. And I started wondering if she forgot about me entirely, if I've just been a placeholder until she found her real life. By winter break, she barely replied at all. My mother noticed and made comments about May moving on, and there was this smugness in her voice that made my skin crawl, but I wouldn't argue. The evidence was right in front of me. She was right. I hit a low point around month 3, and I mean low. I almost texted May a confession. I typed it out, everything, I just didn't hit send. Years of feelings poured into this massive message. My finger hovered over send for what felt like an hour, then I deleted it. My mother walked past my room right as I did it, saw me staring at my phone, and told me I was being mature by not making things weird. I wanted to scream at her. Instead, I just nodded. Something was wrong, but I could not figure out what at the time. It was like there was this invisible wall between May and me that I couldn't identify. I kept telling myself she was just busy, that she made new friends and moved on naturally, but deep down, I knew something else was happening, I just couldn't see it. Well, then she unfollowed me on Instagram. It was that day. I knew. She said she was cleaning up her socials, but it felt like a gut punch, like she was erasing me from her life piece by piece. Unfollowed me on Instagram? I interrupted and said, I don't know. I interpreted it as rejection, as confirmation that she never felt the same way, that I've been delusional all those years. I threw myself into any distraction I could find, started working out obsessively, burying myself in classes, and I was drinking. Oh yeah, way more than I should. Anything to stop thinking about her. Anything to stop checking my phone every 5 minutes, hoping she would text, and the alcohol numbed it. Around month 5, the direct contact stopped completely. Absolutely no more replies, no likes on my posts, nothing. It was like she's just gone. I was left haunting with the memory, oh yeah, of somebody who didn't want me anymore. And you know what? I don't even know why I'm making this post. I guess I just have to get my emotions out. She's gone. May's gone. Update number 1. I'm updating because I can't sleep and because everything I thought I knew about my life just detonated in my face. About a year after graduation, I went to this big family barbecue at my uncle's place. My mother was there, which wasn't unusual. What was unusual was how much she drank. She started early, pouring bottles of wine and mimosas, 2 p.m. And by the time the sun was setting, she was wasted. Loud, emotional, stumbling around hugging people and crying about how fast I grew up. Everybody was laughing, this is just a once-time event, she can drink, teasing her for being dramatic. I was embarrassed but not worried. Then somebody told a story about me as a kid that mentioned May's name in passing, and I felt this sharp, guttural pain in my chest. Just hearing her name out loud after months of silence, it was like touching a bruise I forgot about. My mother. She was slurring her words and said something like, "Good thing that girl left for school. She wasn't right for him anyways." What? The whole table went quiet. I froze. I asked her what she meant. She waved me off and said she was just being protective, but I pressed. I could feel something huge sitting just beneath the surface of her words. She's starting to ramble about how she'd only ever wanted what was best for me. Yeah, how she protected me from a life I'd regret. My uncle tried to change the subject, talking about the Eagles, but I wouldn't let it go. I stood up and demanded she explain herself. That's when she said it. She said she'd helped May make the choice of changing colleges. What? Everything stopped. The noise of the barbecue faded into static, and I asked her to clarify, just one time because my voice was shaking. She told me it. She admitted that for years, she's been telling May things, subtle jabs here and there, that I was not into her, that she wasn't enough for me, that I needed someone more traditional, that I deserved a normal family. She said she pulled me, aside, and she told May at graduation parties, at her house, anywhere she could get her alone, and fed her this poison drop by drop until May started to believe her. She looked me dead in the eyes, drunk as a skunk and unshamed, and said she did it because it was for my own good. Guys, I lost it. I start to scream. I don't even remember what I said. My cousins Jared and Grant had to physically restrain me because I was shaking so hard I thought I was going to collapse. I wanted to hurt her, my own mom. I've never wanted to hurt anyone in my life, not even a fly. But in that moment, I wanted my mother to feel a fraction of the pain she caused me. She kept insisting she saved me, kept doubling down saying May would have complicated my life, that I'll thank her one day. So I left. I got in the car and drove, no destination, just away. I pulled up May's contact in my phone and I called it for the first time in a year. The number was disconnected. I went through every social media platform we ever used. Most of her accounts were private or deactivated. I was frantic, desperate even, spiraling. Finally, I found her new Instagram and it was public, professional looking, like she curated it carefully. I scrolled through months of photos and my heart sank. Well, further and further, she looked different. Not physically, oh no, she was still May. But she looked confident, secure, like she's become this person she was always supposed to be. There was photos with friends, trips, campus events, and she looked free. And then I found him. Spencer. Her boyfriend. The photos of them together felt like a knife. He was tall, fit, successful looking. The kind of guy who probably had his life together, who didn't spend years paralyzed by fear and mommy issues. They looked happy, genuinely sickening happy. I kept scrolling, hand shaking until I found the video. Right there near the end of her feed. Spencer, on one knee proposing to her, candlelights, a crowded restaurant, her hand over her mouth in shock. She was crying in the video, real tears, the kind you can't fake. I know what her real tears look like, and she said yes. She threw her arms around him and kissed him, and everybody in the restaurant applauded. I watched that video maybe 50 times that night. Over and over, I watched it until I became physically ill. Until I had to run to the bathroom and throw up. I don't know if it was the vodka or the video. I realized that if I just said something years ago before she left for that campus, if I confessed before my mother poisoned it, the proposal might never have happened. She might have been mine. I called out work for 3 days. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I spiraled, replaying every moment I'd wasted, every chance I missed, and even her notes that I kept from middle school. Then something broke inside of me. Some irrational, desperate part of the brain convinced me, I need to see her, to tell her everything, to explain what my mother had done, manipulation, and I don't know, beg for forgiveness. I don't even know. I wasn't thinking clearly. Everyone told me it's a terrible idea, man. My friends, my cousins, even my father, when I finally told him what happened. They all said you have to let her go. It's been years. She's moved on. That showing up uninvited would only make you look crazy. I didn't listen. I packed a bag, 1 a.m., started driving cross-country in my broken-down sedan. Barely even got 10 miles to the gallon. 18 hours straight with minimal stops. The road felt endless, like I was driving toward the edge of the world. I rehearsed what I would say over and over and over until the words lost all their meaning. When I got to her college town, I felt like I was going to pass out. I saw her before I even thought it was her. She was at a cafe near the campus, sitting with a group of classmates with her laptop open. She was laughing at something somebody said, and for a second, I almost turned around and drove 18 hours back. She was peaceful. She looked so whole without me, but I didn't leave. I walked up to the window of that cafe I saw her in, and I knocked. She looked up, and her face, God, her face, it was not joy or excitement, it was shock, confusion, maybe even fear. She excused herself and came outside, and we stood on the sidewalk, and she asked me, what the hell am I doing here? Her voice was tight and guarded. I can't finish this update now. I have to take a break. Update number 2. I told her everything, all of it. I stood on that sidewalk and spilled everything. Years of feelings like I was bleeding out. I told her I'd loved her since middle school, that I've been too afraid to say it, that I've been paralyzed by fear of losing her, by rejection, that my mother had sabotaged us and I didn't know, had spent years filling her head with lies, had driven her away on purpose. May started shaking. Tears were in her eyes, I could see them, but she wasn't crying. She looked like she was trying to process something too big to fit in her brain at once. She told me she waited for me for years. She said she spent all high school hoping I would say something, anything, kiss her, hug her. She was dropping hints, trying to be brave enough for both of us. She said she loved me too. She even blamed herself for not making the move. But my mother's comments had slowly eroded her self-esteem until she believed them. That she wasn't good enough, that I didn't really want her, that she was just convenient. She said leaving for college across the country was supposed to be a fresh start, a way to stop waiting for someone who would never choose her, even after 8 years. Hearing her say all of that absolutely broke me. I mean, it destroyed me. She said loving me once wasn't enough to throw away everything she built. That my confession was years too late. I collapsed. I mean, not metaphorically, I literally dropped to the sidewalk, sitting there with my head in my hands, sobbing like a kid. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The world was ending and I was still in it somehow, and the world's still spinning. May crouched down next to me. She was crying too. But quietly, she said she's so sorry, that she wished things would have been different, that she hoped I would find happiness someday. Then she stood up and walked back inside the cafe, and I watched her disappear through the glass door. That was the moment I truly knew I would never see her again. I don't remember driving home. I must have, because, I woke up in my apartment 2 days later with no memory of the trip and nothing but alcohol on the ground, and I stopped answering calls from anyone. I quit my job. I almost lost my apartment. My father, my friends, my cousins, everyone. I confronted my mother one time after that, that's it. I went to her house and told her exactly what she'd stolen from me. She tried to justify it again, said that she'd only been protecting me, and I told her I never want to see her again, and I walked out. I haven't spoken to her since. I don't go to family events anymore. I don't return calls. I'm done. This was about a year ago, guys, and since then I've been, I don't even know what to call it, existing? I guess. I work, I come home, I drink. More than I should, oh yeah, more than what a doctor would call healthy, I know, I just don't give a damn. My friends stopped reaching out after I blew them off enough times. My dad tries, but I can't talk to him without thinking about how he stayed married to the devil. I spent most of my time alone, scrolling through old photos of May and me, reading old texts, torturing myself with what could have been, and watching anime, of course. 3 days ago, I saw a new post on Instagram. She's holding a baby. A tiny, perfect newborn baby. The caption says something about the best moment of my life. And it tags Spencer. She looks radiant, she's glowing, fulfilled, happy in a way I've never been and probably never will be. The baby has the most beautiful hazel eyes. And I stared at that photo for hours. This should have been me. That should have been my baby, my family, my future, but I let fear control me. I let my mother poison me for 8 years. The only good thing I ever had left is gone. It's 4 a.m. right now and I'm drunk as a skunk, typing this out to strangers on the internet because I have nobody left. I might have one friend at work. I'm an alcoholic, I know it. I'm completely alone. I haven't spoken to my family in almost a year and a half. I work a job I hate. I pay rent on an apartment that takes 80% of my check. I can barely stand to be here. I have no friends, no prospects, no future, and this moment will last forever. I genuinely believe my life is worthless, that I ruined the only thing that ever mattered by being too much of a coward to fight for it when it counted. And the worst part is knowing that she's out there living this beautiful, family-full life while I'm rotting away in a wreckage of what I destroyed. I don't know what I'm looking for by posting this, validation, sympathy, I don't even care. Someone to tell me it's not my fault, even though it is. I don't know. I just needed to get it out. To admit to somebody, even internet strangers, that I'm completely broken, and I don't know how to fix it. Thanks for reading, I guess. I'm going to finish this bottle and go to sleep. There's one final update. This one is not written by OP. It's written by Spencer, the husband of May. Final update. I'm Spencer. I found this post because May's college roommate sent it to her a few days ago. May read it, and she's not the same. She's been crying on and off for 3 days. She asked me to post this because she can't bring herself to do it, so here I am. Honestly, I'm not sure I should, but hey, she's my wife. She insists. First of all, before I continue, Cole, if you're reading this, bro, I hope to God that you're reading this because you need to get help. Professional help, not advice on the internet, not self-medication, therapy, actual treatment for your drinking. What happened to you was messed up, bro. But you're taking yourself out and May can't carry that guilt. She doesn't deserve this either. Second, May wants you to know she never stopped caring about you. Even after everything. Even after we got together. Even after we got married and had our daughter. You were always this unresolved piece of her past that she accepted she'd never understand. Reading what your mother did to both of you has wrecked her in ways I cannot fully describe. You know, she spent years in therapy, working through the damage in those comments of what your mom said. The ones about not being enough, about being too complicated, about having mixed babies, about not fitting into some idea of what you needed. She internalized all of it. It affected her self-growth, her worth, her relationships, everything. Your mother did that. Meeting me wasn't some magical fix. No, it was years of work to believe that she deserved to have love. She didn't deserve that. When you showed up at the cafe, she was terrified. Not of you, of herself, of the fact that hearing you finally say what she waited for a decade, to hear almost made her throw away everything she fought so hard to build. She said no that day because she had to, not because she wanted to. She's been carrying that conversation ever since. I want you to know that. Learning that your mother deliberately sabotaged you both has made her physically ill. She keeps saying that she could have fought harder. Should have confronted you instead of believing the lies. But how could she have known she was a teenager, being manipulated by an adult who was supposed to care about her? May's not living some perfect fairy tale life like you're saying. Yeah, she's happy, okay? We have a good marriage, a healthy daughter, stability, but she's also a human being who spent formative years believing the person she loved most didn't want her, only to find out it was all manufactured cruelty. Yeah, that messes with you. That changes you. She wants you to know she forgives you for not confessing, for being scared, for all of it. She says none of it was your fault. Your mother stole something from both of you that you can never get back, and carrying that anger is only destroying you further. I can see it in your post. But Cole, I mean this as someone who loves the woman you loved. You have to let her go. Actually, let her go. Stop checking her social media. Stop torturing yourself with what might have been. It's over. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to her. She spent the last 3 days sobbing because she feels responsible for your pain, and she's not. You are, and your mother is. Get help. Real help. That's all I'm going to say to you. Now I'm going to tell you a direct quote of what May asked me to tell you. It's one final thing, and you'll never hear from me again. I'm going to quote her directly because I wrote it down. You were my best friend before you were anything else. You were the person who made me feel safe when everything was scary. What we had was real, and what your mother did does not erase that. But I need you to survive this, please. I need you to find a way to be okay, to find love again, because knowing you're destroying yourself is unbearable. Please, please get help. You mattered to me then, and you still matter to me now. Don't waste the rest of your life punishing yourself for something that was never your fault. Goodbye, Cole. Yeah, today's story was, pretty insane. There's 2 comments I want to read, and as always, one does not agree with OP. You know, I can understand how some people can think he should have made a move, he should have done something, but we're talking about teenagers being manipulated by an adult. Okay, let me just read the comment that does not agree with OP, and we can talk about it. The comment says, you don't get to blame everything on your mother and act like you're some tragic victim, okay? Yeah, what she did was absolutely disgusting and racist and unforgivable, but you had years to open your mouth and say 3 words. I love you. You had a decade of opportunities and you chose silence every single time, and that's on you, not her. Your mother did not threaten you to force you to be a coward. You did that by yourself because it was easier than risking rejection, which, by the way, is a horrible excuse. May, she dropped hint after hint after hint, practically begged you to take a chance on her, and still, you couldn't do it because you were too busy being paralyzed by your own insecurity? Come on. And now you have the audacity to show up at her college 2 years later after she moved on, after she built a whole new life and she's engaged, and dump all your trauma on her like she's supposed to fix you. That's selfish. That's selfish as hell. You didn't drive 18 hours for closure. You drove 18 hours hoping she would drop everything for you, and when she didn't, you fell apart. Now you're sitting here spiraling into, well, what you're doing, it's not healthy, and blaming your mother for stealing your future. When the reality is you never fought for the future in the first place, you let it go. You just seceded. Well, get therapy. Get sober and take some actual responsibility for your choices instead of wallowing in self-pity and expecting strangers on the internet to tell you it's not your fault when it absolutely is. That's a powerful comment. Let me know what you guys think about it. The second comment does agree with OP. It says, Jesus. The lack of empathy in some of these comments is genuinely disturbing, and it shows how little people understand psychological manipulation and parental abuse. This man was systematically broken down by his own mother since childhood, and you people are acting like he should have just manned up and ignored years of racist poison being drilled into his head by the person who was supposed to love him unconditionally. Do you understand what it does to a teenager's brain when their parents, their literal parents, tells them that the person they love is not good enough, that dating them would be too complicated, as they deserve someone normal? Well, that's not just doubt, that's trauma. And it doesn't go away because you want it to. OP was conditioned to believe that confessing his feelings would ruin May's life and his own. And his mother deliberately cultivated that fear because she's a racist monster who could not stand the fear of her son marrying somebody that's not the same race as him. It's disgusting. Guys, that's the second comment. I want to know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. Let's talk about this wild story. I hope you guys had a great day. More stories tomorrow. I'll see you then. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.